This is the Leo Climaco podcast.
Why do you think you still became an entrepreneur even though your father told you not to, but then you told me that he also taught you to question everything?
Yeah.
So you probably questioned, why not? Why not become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, and yeah, you can say that because I questioned it, but it's also because I'm an accidental entrepreneur. I wasn't trying to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
I wasn't trying to be anything really. I was
Right,
just
but
trying
usually
to figure
your
it
dad
out.
telling you don't do it,
Yeah.
most kids would just, okay, dad, I won't become an entrepreneur. Right?
But that's not my frame.
Yeah.
That's not how I think. I don't think about that for anything. I'm what you would say is contrarian. Is that the right word?
Yep.
I tend to disagree with pretty much anything, which is also a pain in the ass, especially if you're my wife. Because you're like, why do you have to debate everything with me? But it keeps me curious. It keeps me interested, and I am an interested person.
Let's go a little bit deeper. I want to know, what role does God play in your life?
God is tricky. So I don't really follow a religion. So if I could separate religion and God for a second,
Okay.
what I do believe is in infinite intelligence, if I may call it that. And that infinite intelligence may resonate as God to some people. It may be Bhagwan, which is Indian version of saying God to some people. It might be Shiva, it could be Shakti, it could be Allah. I don't know that.
Right.
So I don't necessarily subscribe to religion. But what I love about religion is if you take out the dogma, they are some of the best personal growth books you can ever read.
I agree.
They're written beautifully. They make perfect sense for the time they were written in. So some of the
Yes.
stuff becomes dogmatic because it was just a different time it was
Yeah.
written in. If they would be written in today's time, it would probably be written differently because it'll be in context. But religion's promise was beautiful. Religion's outcome, maybe not so much.
Right. The
I mean,
execution of that
sometimes it is
promise.
very helpful. Religion has saved a lot of lives as much as it's caused a lot of wars.
Yeah.
Because when you are challenged, when you are struggling, you want to believe in something. It's easy to believe when somebody says, just believe in God because I did.
Right.
I'm not saying it's the best path. I don't know the best path either, right?
Right.
But what I'm saying is there's a usefulness to religion
Yes.
if practiced right and if we can remove the dogma from it.
Gives you a comfort, right? Something to
gives
fall
you
back
faith.
onto.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something to fall back
Yeah.
on. It gives you hope.
Yes.
It gives you that there is a chance and that you don't have to feel like I got this all by myself.
Right.
Right. Instead of that, you go, no, there's a higher power. It gives you that confidence in the pursuit that you're
I'm
doing.
not alone.
I'm not alone.
Yeah.
And that somebody's got me or something's got me. And there is, and I call it infinite intelligence because the more and more I think about it, more and more it is present that we don't know really anything. That if science says there was a big bang, if somebody, and at least I haven't found an answer, maybe somebody has answered it, but I haven't found it, is that if you go, well, there was Big Bang, and what was before that?
Yes.
And the answer is nothing. Like, what caused Big Bang? We don't know that.
Right.
Okay, so you could say that was God, right? You could say it was Shiva. You could say it was Shakti. You could say it was Allah. You could say it was Jesus. I don't know who
Right.
caused it, but something caused it, right? So scientifically, there's a point we stop, and religion-wise also there's a point we stop because we don't know something beyond what a text says, right? So essentially, we all are really, in essence, saying there is infinite something where we all came from. Like Big Bang is suggesting there was a bang, and then the universe was created, and we got created in the universe, which means we all came from Big Bang.
Let there be light.
Right. So we came from Big Bang. We came from nothing. Right. Big Bang, a black hole is nothing.
Right.
Right. At least the understanding of, and maybe it is a lot of things, but I'm not super scientific as well, so I'm not going to go into the science of it. God is, it was just big nothing, and God said, "I'm going to create creation." Or same is for the Indian religion. It's like there's
Right.
nothing, and then the Shiva Shakti together, and they said we're going to make things, and they assign duties, and they create universe.
Yeah.
Great. So awesome. Brahma makes Brahman, and then Vishnu gives some power. The Indian mythology is similar, right?
Right.
So all the mythology, all the religious texts kind of are suggestive of that there was nothing, and then something happened, and we all got created, right? before science and after science, kind of the logic is similar.
Right, very.
So if that was true in either of the scenarios, which means we are all connected to something that's infinite or came from something that was infinite and is continuously expanding based on all the text or the understanding of text that I have at least,
Right.
is that we are ever evolving, ever moving, and there's a cycle to all of this, which effectively means we are connected to the same intelligence that is. And I think all religions somehow suggest that God is within you. And if that's true, that means infinite is within me.
Yes.
If you were to believe science, we all came from the black hole, which means we're all part of it, which means black hole is within me or the infinite is within me. So all being said, it's suggestive of that there is an infinite sense of intelligence that resides within me and that somehow we are all connected. And that's really my understanding of God at this point, is it's not associated to a religion, but it's suggestive of that we are all one.
Would you say that God is something that you rely on when you're dealing with struggles, failures, setbacks? Is that something that you go to or no?
God, no. I go to infinite intelligence mostly when I am seeking an answer. When I'm in pain, I don't necessarily seek God, no. I go for peace to religious locations if I have been to or if I'm going to. It's mostly because I find a sense of peace there.
Got it. So how do you deal with failure and setbacks?
At this point, I shrug them off mostly because I see them. So my understanding of, or my relationship with failure now is it's part of who I need to become. And so I don't necessarily take anything as too big or too small. Everything just is.
Right.
And that creates a sense of movement for me. And I think movement is what really helps me deal with failures a lot more easily. I think my response to failure is less than one day. Like a big failure. A small failure, probably a couple of minutes.
You let it go very easily.
Very easily at this point. I'm like, because I know there's a grand plan. So maybe you can say I am leaning into infinite because I believe there is a grand plan. And I believe that grand plan is absolutely designed for my purpose and for me to live the best life, that I have the blessing of consciousness, I have the blessing of my grandfather, I have the blessing of the infinite, I have the blessing of infinite intelligence and wisdom and everything. And so I'm unaffected by the journey, I am just enjoying it. So even failure is an experience of joy in a way, because I know there's something, and we can all do this, by the way, this is not complicated. If you really take a minute to really look at our past, anybody that's watching or listening, and if you look at your challenges or the failures that you consider as failures in your life, you would find that right after that, there was a breakthrough. And you became something, or you became someone that you were like, damn, I really wanted to be that person because I needed to be that person to get to where I'm getting to. Right. So once you establish a relationship with challenges and failures, you go, it's okay. It's part of the thing. You can struggle for a few minutes. Of course, you're a human being. You will have emotions. That's unreal to not have them.
Right.
But how you work with them is what's important. So you have the emotions, you experience it, and then you move on.